Welcome to the Alive in One podcast, Marvel Crisis Protocol and miniature-based podcast. My name is Stephen Maddox, and today I'm joined by the other Stephen Bork.
How's it going?
And Nick Shaw.
How we doing?
We actually got all three of us here today.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a challenging thing going forward.
Yeah.
So this episode, we wanted to touch on a couple things. One being new stuff that's coming out, because everyone's got to talk about new stuff's coming out. But then also kind of pivot that and talk about community building and how those things can maybe be helpful in community building aspects. And then if you want to start your own MCP community, ways to kind of go about it and how to keep it thriving, as ours has been going about. How long has ours been going on for, Nick, actually? That's a good question. 2 years?
The actual group?
Yeah.
Probably late 2020.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because the game came out like late 2019 or something that. Yeah. So I think 3 years probably been going strong, I would say. Because it took some time to get people interested, per se.
Yeah. It's about 4 years.
Plus COVID happened, that whole thing.
This game is really lucky that it didn't die off during COVID, I would say, because it came out like right at the beginning of COVID. Which I'm glad it did not die off. Because
I think that's in part because of TTS.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So first news base is here. Go and follow our Instagram if you guys don't mind. It's just Alive on One on Instagram, all one word, no spaces in between it. We like to post kind of content there, and then it's probably a good way to communicate with us about, hey, we've had a lot of people reach out being like, hey, you should do an episode on this, or hey, I'm new to the game. Can you talk about like what this means when you talk about this? And that's a great avenue to communicate with us. So Alive on One podcast.
Also the email too is a good way. I log on to that at least every day as well. So
you're better than me. I barely check my own personal email that often. And it's aliveon1@gmail.com, correct?
Yep, correct.
Cool. And then side note, coming up in September, Stephen, do you have the date off the top of your head?
Give me a second, but you can hype it as I look it up.
I believe it's going to be, Stephen will double check.
The 14th, I believe.
Perfect. So September 14th, we are actually going to do a team tournament up in Maine. We went to a team tournament. Unfortunately, Nick couldn't go. He was supposed to go.
And now he's TOing.
And now he's TOing it, so he's just left behind. But we're doing a team tournament up in Maine because we had a lot of fun at the Ironwell team tournament. So it's a 3-person team event. You can't bring duplicate characters, and we're probably going to make it where you can't bring duplicate tactics cards, which honestly, that's going to be a lot easier to work around with now because so many of them got banned away.
Speaking of changes.
Yeah. So we're hoping to get, realistically, I think 6 teams would be great, but I think 4 teams seems realistic.
I don't know. Depends on how. So we have a pretty big. So speaking of community building as well, we have at least the potential to have 4 main teams or 5 main teams.
Mm-hmm. And then if we pull up people from down south, it can just grow from there.
Yeah. And so, I know that I talked to Stephen and Nick about doing this because its team turns were a lot of fun. This one has some more restrictions. I'll put a link to the event as well as the player packet in the episode description. But if you're around at all, anywhere where it's theoretically okay for you to drive, if you want to fly to this, go ahead, I guess. But if you really like our episodes and you want to just hang out with us, we'll be there. So there are some restrictions more than other team tournaments for trying some stuff out. Some new stuff like no duplicate team tactics cards except for restricted, which now really doesn't even matter. So,
maybe we come into and actually do no duplicate crisis. That might be fun. I think
it's already in the player packet.
It is perfect.
Is a thing. Yep. So
I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, because then also you have to maybe take an affiliation that plays on these really weird missions that no one ever uses. So it's cool. But that's happening in September. So if you need any another reason to join Instagram as well, if you need any recommendations for food or lodging, if you're traveling that far and want to stay overnight, the night before or the night after, or just having this at a local gaming store. But I do understand traveling can, Maine's nice. Stay in Portland,
Absolutely. So. Yeah. We're pretty close to Portland, so there's a lot to do. Yeah. And then speaking of that, November 16th and 17th, our local event, our community for like 40K and stuff has always done a very large event in November called the Standoff. And this year we have joined along with them. And we're going to be doing a 2-day event in November as well, with a top 8 cut on the second day. So that should get posted. I think this is the first time probably publicly that this has been talked about. So that should be posted somewhat soon, like within the next week or two, with a website and stuff like that. So
And Stephen,
look forward
what's it
to that
called?
as well. It's called The Standoff.
Oh, did you already say that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
whoops.
probably didn't actually say it directly, but yeah, we're joining The Standoff. It'll be a 2-day event in South Portland, Maine, so really close to the airport if you imagine you want to travel. But lots of easy boarding around there.
Yeah, and for those who don't make the top 8 as well, Steven's working up like an interesting, maybe different type of tournament, or just kind of a local, the normal RTTs that happen.
Something fun. And if people just want to do like a normal singles tournament again, like I'm 100% accepted to that, but I think let's do something fun. And so I've been thinking about a couple of things. Like I think a doubles tournament would be really fun. I've looked into people doing those at like Adepticon and stuff. I think that'd be really cool. So that's also an option.
Cool. Some exciting stuff happening in Maine.
Absolutely. And so, now let's go into kind of what we've been doing. So I'm going to start with Nick because he's the guy that actually like reads more comics. But Nick, what comics have you been reading more?
You mean what comics have you been reading?
Yeah.
What comics have I read a lot.
Oh, you're still on this episode? You went silent there.
Well, I'm trying not to interrupt, so. But yeah, I'm still on the episode. I'm still here.
Sorry. Continue.
All right. Anyways, comics I'm reading. I'm still reading the Thor run by Donny Cates. I think I'm up to book 9 now on that. I'm still running through. I think it's James McKay, but I could be wrong. Moon Knight. And then they just started renumbering the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. So I just read the first issue of that, which was pretty great.
What? I didn't know that was a comic.
Wow, you didn't know that was a comic? I don't know if you're being sarcastic.
Okay, so I have to interject here, Stephen. There's a really good. This isn't like shading you. We did that enough on the last episode. But it's called The Last. So speaking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics, I've seen a really popular comic called The Last Ronin, which is I think TMNT as well.
It is. I could talk a lot about The Last Ronin. I have a copy of it sitting next to me with most of the creative team's signatures in it. So,
cool.
Yeah, I love Ninja Turtles. So,
yeah.
Fun fact. So I live in Dover, New Hampshire, and guess where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were invented? Kind of in Dover, New Hampshire.
No way.
So if you're ever here, we have like a couple signs next to the house. They just did a parade last summer.
That's funny.
To reveal the plaque. Yeah, that's all we got. It's New Hampshire, man. So what are you going to do?
I think the plaque is actually the top of a sewer.
Yep, it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's fitting. So great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to come and hang out with me and have dinner or play games, we can visit the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing.
What else am I reading? I also just read issue 6 of Ultimate Black Panther. Been enjoying that series.
I'm 2 issues into that. I've really enjoyed that so far.
Yeah, the Black Panther Ultimate has been very good. I've also been reading. I think they've only got 2 issues out now of Zatanna Bringing Down the House. So a DC comic, and that's been pretty good, right? So far.
All right.
So. And there's a bunch of other comics I'm reading, but I won't mention them all right now. Well, we could be here a while, so
save them for later.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not cool, and I read Marvel Ultimate, so I'm just behind. So I am reading the Death of the Venomverse series by Colin Bunn that released last summer, where Carnage has gotten powers of gods and is hunting down and killing all the Venoms. And his storyline after the Carnage Reigns Omega storyline, I think it was. And I'm liking a lot. The art on that is really fun. The cover art of Carnage with that like Necrosword thing and all the armor on him looks really cool. Like I would love if that guy came to MCP.
Yes. Sorry, I was offline looking up what it's called that I'm reading. So it's called The Uncanny X-Men. I just started issue 1 of that. Ran in like 2013. Nice. It's got some really interesting kind of neo-noir style art. So I'm continuing on my path of X-Men exploration. So
that sounds cool.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, like Cyclops is. It's like the comic you may recognize it, where Cyclops has like an X over his face, and his beam launches from like one point, kind of near where his third
Oh,
eye would be.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's any good or not. I'm just issue 1, so
Well, let us know.
I will. All right. So anything else in terms of like comics?
No, I think that's it. I'm working through all the symbiote stuff from last year.
Like I said,
Cool.
I could talk for
Well,
a
yeah,
while
Nick,
about
we might
comics.
wanna-
I'll save some of them for future episodes. So
Yeah.
I could
Okay.
talk a while.
And so hobby update stuff. Steve, what are you painting? Because we just recorded our episode a few days ago, for those of you who don't know, so this is pretty recent for Nick and I to go through this, but Steven, what are you working on?
Yeah, I've been working on Spearhead stuff. So Age of Sigmar Spearhead, I think sounds kind of cool. Because like MCP, it's a smaller based, kind of quicker game. So I don't have to play like a large, giant gameplay or anything like that. So I've been working on the Sylvana Spearhead because I have all the models already to it, so I didn't have to like go out and get anything or buy anything, which is really nice. So I've been painting up. I have all that done except for the Kiranoff Bowmen, which are the big tree guys with bows, but everything else is all painted up. So that's what I've been working on. And then after that, I have a bunch of the new MCP stuff primed and ready to go. So I'll probably paint
Cool.
up Namor. I guess I'm going to put this right here. A little like Namor. I was like, hey, this guy looks terrible. I don't want him at all. And now I've been testing him out. I think maybe he's got play with stuff.
And now you're off the podcast.
Yep.
You're booted.
No, but yeah, he might be something. So I'll paint him up. I'll paint up the new Black Panther, Shang-Chi, and I haven't ever painted my Wong up and stuff like that. So I got some MCP backlog stuff coming up too. But that's about it. Nothing super crazy.
Yeah. Nick, are you still painting the same stuff as last episode?
Yep. I haven't really had a chance to touch much of it. But today I actually just primed terrain that came in the box for Spearhead, and I'm going to use that as kind of my test scheme for the Asgard terrain that should be coming out here within a few weeks.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I did that with mine too. I ended up dry brushing a bunch of like magentas and kind of purples onto it to give it kind of like this weird glowy stuff on it, just because I was like, I'm not really going to paint this terrain just as boring rock stuff because that's annoying and boring. And so I was like doing fun stuff with colors. It was really fun.
Fun stuff with colors sounds like an activity I do in my free time. I am painting something, so I finished Miles. He's not that great, but he's done, so fuck it. And then last night I came home from playing a game and started painting Daredevil and Shang-Chi. I just watched the movie last night, and that's how he pronounces it, so I'm going to go with that. But yeah, just put a little bit of paint. I made some progress on Daredevil today, and I'm really liking how he's starting to turn out. So kind of going with that classic Daredevil, just the red. Nothing, weird or fancy. Shadowland will be fun, though. I'll probably paint him too soon. But yeah. We're all very quiet.
Hey, we're trying not to interrupt.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
We're trying not to interrupt.
Yeah.
It takes some skill.
Yeah, definitely. So recent Alive on One characters, and I'll start off with yesterday because it was pretty epic. So Shang-Chi went down the board, did a bunch of pushes, normal stuff for him, but he flipped and Storm was attacking him, got him down to Alive on One, and then I did the flipped move. I forget what it's called, the goose move, where then he moves like one time or two times or something, and then takes that other character and places it within one, basically effectively taking them a little bit out of the game for a turn. And I got to do that, and then she still didn't kill him. So he then got to come in, smack Beast, and I was playing against X-Men, if you couldn't tell, smack Beast and essentially just stand on that back point and be alive for absolutely no reason. So,
Nice.
Yes.
Worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Any of you have like any kind of cool Alive on One?
I had some frustrating ones. I had two. I was playing Midnight Suns yesterday, and I had two Alive on Ones where one was at a point in the game, I think it was like round 2 or 3, where I was trying just to move up with Iron Man, I believe it was. Invincible Iron Man, and just pick off Wong real quick because I was using Namor and he's staggering Immortal Hulk a lot, and I didn't want Wong running over and just removing that condition. But of course, Wong with 4 health or 5 health, whatever the heck he has, lived on 1. And I was like, great, that's really fun. And then at the end of that game, there was another moment where Immortal Hulk had 4 cubes on him. And so I was trying to kill him so he would drop the 4 cubes so I wouldn't lose the game. And of course, he lives on 1. So I'm like, cool, great. This is fun. I like it when it works with me.
Steven, why wouldn't you just steal from him? I'm kidding.
Namor was dead.
Yeah. Also, for those of you who have been kind of regular listeners, Steven doesn't currently have any. Well, Namor, I guess, but
Namor
your
steals.
List. Yeah. Besides him, you don't really have any steals, or didn't.
Voodoo
before
was
him.
in there for a hot minute. He stole.
That's true. But did you ever even use him
against Nick? Yeah, he did great.
Oh, okay. Well,
I will say you're right. When I was playing more recent, in the past beginning of this year, I didn't really have a steal on my list at all, and I just killed people instead.
I'm glad to see one character at a time. You're moving towards steals.
Baby steps.
I just remember we were looking at my list yesterday, Steven, and I was like, well, I've got at least 2 steals, every size throw besides size 5, and you're like, what? I kind of like that stuff, though. That's how I play. So
yeah, it's different styles.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So
different styles, new stuff coming out, right?
Yeah. Well, unless you have an Alive on 1.
I mean,
did you even play a game?
I didn't play a game yesterday, but I did play on. Was it? It must have been Friday. I played Shatterpoint, and my opponent, one of our local community guys, had 2 instances where some of his characters were alive on 1, but he refused to say alive on 1. I think he was just doing it to bug me, but I thought it was kind of funny.
That's less funny than I thought. But
it was funny to me. I'm like, are you purposely not saying alive on 1? You would say they have
Tell
1
me to get a
HP
free
remaining
t-shirt
and stuff like that. I'm like, come on,
it's 1 HP remaining.
But I don't think I had any fun stories recently about any characters really that are alive on 1.
Okay. So, fun fact: our spin-off show is now going to be called whatever you just said. Shit, I forgot already.
Living with 1 HP.
Living with 1 HP. Yeah.
Yes, rolls off the tongue so much better.
He was purposely saying it that way. I'm like, oh, come on, man, just say it.
And so we'll move on a bit too. So this episode, we're going to address, as Stephen mentioned, some of the new stuff, and then kind of build into building your community. And I think new stuff is a great way to either have returning players come back to the shop or want more games. So it's kind of a good segue because there's a lot of exciting stuff coming out. We're not going to talk about it for that long, but we just want to use that as kind of an example of when maybe you should host a little bit more events or try putting something together. So let's start off with, the big guy. The obvious one is the release of Apocalypse.
Yeah, and I don't know many people that aren't excited for this guy. I think everyone we've talked to has been like, oh man, this is just really excited. So I think he's going to be great just to be in the game, just for those people that like him as a character.
Get ready for tons of mirror matches, man, because everyone I know wants to run him. So.
And then as somebody I don't have a huge Apocalypse background of I love this character, but just his card is so different from what we have in this game. It looks really fun, and so I'm always about new stuff like this in the game to just bring more fun to the game itself. I'm really excited for his card because it looks really cool.
Absolutely. I remember we were having a conversation with a few other players, Andy being one of them, but we were talking, and Matt Alex, we were talking a little bit at a tournament about them running out of ideas. And because, there's only so many mechanics, it's a small game. It's not like 40K where they invent rules that then break the game. They don't really do that because they're tight rules writers. And so I was really pleasantly surprised when I saw the way that the affiliation is going to work even, and then him kind of leaning into a totally new style of condition playing, because we haven't really seen that too much. There's a few characters here and there who kind of thrive on that, Mortal being the one that just pops in my head, Crystal too. But we haven't seen a leader who, well, I guess Hydra kind of, but
Strucker.
Yeah, we haven't seen a good leader
Yeah.
and lean into that. So it should be really exciting times, and should switch and change. Like you're going to have to play against him, so you're going to have some kind of tool to deal with an apocalypse list. So it should be interesting how that trickles down into other factions as well.
Yeah, and something with him I think is cool too is like I don't think he's going to be, and I might be wrong here, but he doesn't look like a great splash piece, like a 6-threat splash, like we had Cosmic Ghost Rider and Hulk and stuff like that. But he looks like a great 6-threat leader, right? Like for his affiliation with his 4 horsemen mechanic, looks really cool. And so it's not going to be like a She-Hulk thing where you're like, oh, this is my leader, but I don't like them that much. I think he looks really cool for his faction, but we shouldn't see him splash into every list known as man like Thanos.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
No, based on his card.
Really. Oh, sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, based on his card, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, he can't take gems either, which is kind of the gems. If Thanos just could take one and they weren't free, he might be a little bit more balanced sometimes. But
yeah, he's in a weird spot. But that's for a different day.
He gets good when the gems can when another character or faction aligns with his gem play really well.
Yeah.
So
you mean his movement play? Because I feel like Thanos it shows that movement tech in this game is a huge deal.
Or his adding attack dice, that's a big one. Like Zemu, the Cabal Thanos list, which I still think is relatively competitive right now.
I really love how you call him Zemu instead of Zemo.
Oh, well,
it's great.
I don't know. It's like Finding Nemo.
Yeah, just keep doing it because that's what I imagine. It's just some like weird animal. Zemu.
Yes,
the guy with the sword.
Who's really fast. So
yeah,
I don't know what kind of animal that is. Who? Maybe like some kind of bear.
Cheetah. A bear is not fast.
Well, bears have big claws like his sword. So
I mean, you're calling him Zemu, so he has to be a cow, right?
Ooh, there you go.
Okay. So anyways, so I guess briefly, because last episode we did talk about it too, but we did have on sort of our talking points today, the New Mutants, simply because I'm stoked about them. And actually before this episode, all of us were kind of reading, or Steven and I were talking about Sunspot and Warlock. And I do have to say, this is another good example, and maybe we'll just leave it at this. Sunspot's a really good example of them being really creative within kind of the limitations of their own game.
Absolutely.
Because sorry.
I would agree with you. And then Warlock as well is like he's playing around terrain, but in a different way. So it feels new and it keeps things fresh in the game, which I think is really nice.
And so quickly too, Sunspots has this cool mechanic called Flare. So it's kind of like you can think of it sort of like Mr. Sinister's tokens. And so you gain flare and can spend them to do different things. Like you increase the size of a character based on the amount of flare tokens you have. You can blow up when you get dazed, which is really cool. I just think that's an excellent sort of mechanic, and I'm really impressed with that. So
yeah, me too.
And I'm really stoked. What did you say, Stephen? They were leaning towards with Magic's leadership?
Oh, they were talking about the stream. It's like you want to be close to your allies. So they called it like a buddy system where they get better if they're, I don't know if they said within 2, but I think they said within 2 of allies around you. So you kind of want to bunch up and do like friendship stuff, which I thought was kind of a funny
kind of like how those Black Order Proxima and what's her face or his face,
Glaive and Proxima. Yeah.
Kind of how they work.
I wonder if it would be like a reverse Daredevil leadership where you want to be next to your team to get extra attack dice or defense dice versus being closer to enemy characters to get extra attack dice.
Yeah.
That'd be cool from a game balance too, because you want to be close to your allies to get a benefit, but then you're more punished by beams and area attacks and throws. So you can be like, oh, this leadership is like a really good, there's a huge reward, but a really big cost as well. And that's a cool balance mechanic. And then a cool play style to be like, oh, I'm going against new humans or what are they called? New mutants? New mutants. I have to think about how I want to go into them.
It's going to take, like anything, some skill and adjustment, I think, to play something like that too. So
yeah, it's a cool idea.
Yeah, hopefully they do release or are planning on releasing more than just the Sunspot box though. So
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Give them time.
But yeah, of course. And so also Dracula.
Yeah, buddy.
It was so cool. I don't plan on using Dracula too much, but I was like, oh man, that's sick. So
yeah, and I don't know if I'm going to run him either, but I want his terrain piece. I want the giant castle thing that he comes in just to put on my desk. That's what I want. I want to paint that, put it on my desk, and put the guys inside of it.
Oh, that's cool. Cool idea. And so, Nick, you're more excited of either of us about the monsters. What did you think about that release?
I'm excited about all the monsters. I think the monsters are cool. I think they're different. It feels like it's less hero based at that point, and you just kind of have a fun horror element to your MCP game. Also, I like Werewolf by Night, the little short film they did, so I'm excited to have kind of horror stuff in there. I don't maybe they touched on this. I didn't have a chance to look at the stream. Did they say anything about a leadership for any of those characters or what faction they're fitting into?
Yeah, so also Elsa Bloodstone will 100% be a new Midnight Sun leader. She doesn't come out until the start of next year, though. They said Dracula has a vampire thrall leadership that's going to be a card where he's like turning. It sounds like it's like you're turning your allies into vampires, so maybe they get a benefit or something. We don't know exactly what. And then I think Dracula, I don't think is in a Midnight Sun. I think they were talking about more like Cabal versus his affiliations, but yeah, we're still waiting on that leadership for him.
So it sounds like it's going to be something along the lines of like a Hellfire Club situation, I imagine, where you get that tactics card. And
if we look at, sorry to interrupt, but if you look at Apocalypse, what I'm hoping for is that they're going to not do like every single character could be affiliated, but here is a selection to pick from. So like Apocalypse's Horseman, it can only be certain characters, not just anybody. I think that's a cool long-term balance strategy. So you don't have to worry about making this character that's broken in Dark Dimension or broken in Hellfire Club.
No, I agree, because I think that's an issue with Hellfire Club is you just kind of take all the value pieces, right? Plus the leadership is amazing.
To be honest, it's a shell for Rhino. That's about it.
Yeah, but he's a great piece. And then you just throw in other good pieces, and then the leadership's great. Like,
yeah, they're good. Obviously, I don't know. They're uninteresting to me because they're just like take every meta character you can imagine, and then you're good.
Yeah, like basically pick every single good character in the game and then throw them in there. There's no theme to it.
I'm just hoping.
I would also
go ahead.
I was just gonna say the reason why I don't think Dark Dimensions like that is because you take characters that become really like there's different criteria than just taking the best because of that extra power, but you also need to be able to spend it quick.
That's true. So
because otherwise you take damage. Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about that soon enough. Don't worry. But anyways,
what I was starting to say is I just hope that it's an affiliation where I can play all the monsters. Because that would just be awesome to me. Like, who doesn't want a werewolf, a swamp monster, and Dracula running around just beating up some superheroes? That just sounds really fun.
Yeah, plus, they're going to have to.
Yeah, plus looking at Dracula's card, I actually haven't really looked at it until right before the episode. He looks really fun. He looks like he's going to be power hungry, though, but he looks really fun.
Yeah, and something else I think is going to start coming back into this game is bow mechanics. So Bow was talking about a mechanic where you pick a character within a range and you get to move them. So he has a hypnotic stare. Within 3, you can move them small. I think that's going to come up to play more, and that is... I don't miss that mechanic. That mechanic is very challenging to play around sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what did it used to be in?
Ultron 2 has it. Bow, we get the term Bow from first MODOK. It was Bow to the Will of MODOK. He was the first character with the power.
Yeah.
So he has it's usually been bigger characters, which is good. And I guess Dracula is a 5, so it does fit there. But the more I see that, the more I'm like, you can just pull people into like a kill zone, and then you go down a character attrition.
Actually, that looks great because Dracula has a 7-dice builder that's only range 2, and for 2 power, he can pull a character closer to him. Yeah. And then shapeshifting, his shapeshifting ability, that is awesome.
Yeah, and the thematic of it.
Yes.
And I just want to yell bat. Bat and play it. That's all I want to do.
I'm very
Something else new that's a kind of little tiny side point is Maverick has got his anti-healing factor ability. I think you might see him a lot too pop up.
Explain that.
Yeah, so he's got an ability that I think they're within 3 of Maverick, it was 3 or 4 or 2. Anytime they go to remove damage, they can't. You can spend power, they can't heal. Dracula's got like 3 different ways to heal on his card, I think.
Yes, he does.
And so, and then you have like the new weapon axe, and so I think he could be a really good splash piece to be like, oh, I am seeing Dracula all over the place, or I'm seeing like a weapon X resurgence. Like you could pick, okay, he's a 3 threat that I can fit in pretty easily.
Or just like patch up comes back.
Yeah, that's true, because it could just stop patch up too, right? So I think he might have play as well, and I think it's kind of cool that we saw both. Where I saw, oh, this character might be a problem because he can heal a lot. Oh, there's another character they released that can help kind of counteract that, and that's really cool to see that.
That's a good game balancing.
Absolutely.
So I'm A-okay. So I guess like briefly too, because we actually talked more than I thought we would about all this stuff. So the thoughts on general thoughts. We're not going to go over each specific card that was rotated, but general thoughts on, and we did kind of touch on this on the Defenders episode, but general thoughts on how list building changes now given the rotated cards. And Steven, you can start because we haven't really heard your take on this.
First of all, I think it's really healthy for the game. I'm sad that some stuff went away that I played, of course, but I'm also really excited to see that stuff go away and there's new options coming up. I'm really excited for Eyes on the Prize going away. So not everyone just like, oh, they're going to take the midline objective and now I have to play from behind. So I'm really excited for the game overall. I do think Shield, I'm going to miss Mark for Death quite a bit against Webs, but I think we'll be fine without it. If anything, midline play is going to be much more common, where there'll be a lot more characters sitting on the midline, and I punish midline stuff really well with the gunline format that I build. So I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. And if anything, again, it keeps the game fresh. It keeps ideas flowing. There's other things to try. Realistically, as a Shield player, I'm not that hurt because I have really good tactics cards built in just for my affiliation. So I'm like, not a huge deal. But I think it's just exciting to see in the game.
Yeah, agree. The only additional thing I'll add is it does like kind of make list building a bit easier, because essentially now you're looking at affiliation only, 2 restricted cards. So that's about 5 or 6 cards depending on the affiliation. And then you just have 4 kind of character-based cards to play around with. So I do think it makes list building slightly easier. And now also you are rewarded for splashing a character who has a tactics card that you might need.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with some of the changes to like Rhino's card, I mean, I still think whoop-de-doo 4 power to play his steal. It's not the biggest deal in my opinion, but because he just starts generating power really quickly once he gets going. So, but that being said, besides Rhino, there you can now consider, Pyro. Well, he was splashed already, but Pyro is a good splash piece if you need Incinerate or another steal. So you can really take these characters and take them for their cards versus maybe not taking them because they would take up that card slot or something like that.
Yeah. Like we had a conversation once about bringing Rhino and Shield, but I'm like, I don't have the tactics card spot to bring Renaubery, and so then it kind of comes out. So now I probably do, or it's like that decision's not as hard anymore, or you have more flexibility there, and also you get to see more cards.
Yeah, and to be honest, that may also. So let's take stealing for example as our just basic example. Spider-Woman has a steal that was a lot easier to use early game with no matter the cost. That's gone. So now she has a steal with no card versus Rhino, who has a steal. They're the same threat level. Rhino has a steal with a card. You're going to have more slots to have character-based cards in. So maybe you go with a tougher character for a certain list versus. I hate that I'm using Rhino because like he's just obviously so good. But those are kind of comparable pieces to a certain extent. Spider-Woman and Rhino. They don't do the same thing, but they have that steal mechanic, and that's kind of why people bring them in less. So now you'll have like different options, I guess, is all I'm going with that.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? What have you changed?
What have I changed? Not a lot, really. I wasn't a big Eyes on the Prize user to begin with because I didn't own it till recently, so I never ran it, never really felt like I needed it. I'm sad to see Exceptional Healing go, because I think you'll see less Wolverine now, and I love Wolverine.
I think X-23 got hit hard the most by that one.
Well, I mean, all of your healing factor characters, I think,
Lizard
hit.
He's a big one.
But so I don't know if we'll see as many healing factor characters splashed, especially. And it. Oh,
we
somebody's
have
angry.
a dog. a guest star.
But I was sad about Wolverine because it made me instantly kind of drop him from my defenders list. I mean, maybe he'll make his way back in, but right now I don't see him as being as valuable without exceptional healing. But overall, I wasn't that sad. I was sad some cards didn't go, but what they did, I think, needed to happen.
You mean like Eye in the Sky?
That card.
No, but I mean, come on. Their logic was pretty soundproof. They're not banning faction cards.
Well, they did. They did ban a faction card. Crew of Milano is no longer a
what the hell is
card.
That?
I'll bring it up real quick.
Oh, you didn't play during that time, Steven. You're such a sweet summer child.
I got to get to.
No, I don't even know what that is or what affiliation.
It's Guardians.
You want to say what it was, Nick?
It made me pretty sad. It's Guardians of the Galaxy and Crew of the Milano.
So yeah, it's the one that will remove conditions, and then you were immune to conditions for the turn, I believe. So when Cosmic Ghost Rider was like in Guardians and doing a lot, it made him really oppressive because you couldn't condition him and key points to stop him. So it was like Guardians, okay, they're like these tiny mischief guys that are supposed to be like plucky. Oh, I'm going to put this giant kaiju threat model in here and make him really good. So it was like, oh, okay, I think that's
the argument I heard as to why they rotated it out is because it will make Apocalypse have a more difficult time into Guardians than he necessarily should, because he dish out a lot of his conditions, and with Crew of the Milano, every character spends 1 power, so it's variable, and they lose all the special conditions and then can't gain them. So, and it's not one special condition you choose to drop, it was all. So if you had like this just stack of them for 1 power, you no longer have any conditions on you. It was very good.
Well, it's gone now, so we can not.
It's gone now, and I'm sad to see that one go. But I'm not currently really running Guardians, so it's not as big of a deal. But
all right, interesting. All right, cool. So to kind of wrap up, we had this part, we had some really cool new releases. If you haven't seen them, check them out. But I think, just even beyond the stuff they previewed, we've got Thor coming, Apocalypse coming soon. The new Thor box, with a new Loki who looks interesting. Actually, all the characters in that look pretty interesting, to be honest, besides maybe Sif. So that's coming probably, 2 weeks or so. So
it sounded like within the next couple of weeks when I was at Crossroads the other day. So
cool. Well, we've got some exciting stuff coming up. So you know what that's a perfect time for is using that leverage of momentum within this game to start building your own community or expanding the one you currently have. And so I don't think I'll have too much to say. So Steven and Nick, why don't you describe kind of the history of how our gaming group got going, and then, just kind of go from there.
Yeah, definitely. So our group kind of got started almost by accident. I was going through some health issues at the time. COVID had just ended, and myself and 2 friends were kind of getting together regularly to play board games, whatever we could. And I happened to own MCP. I had bought it right when COVID was getting kind of going before everything closed down. And I ended up building the models. Me and another friend played it. And then we got a third friend playing it, and it kind of snowballed into us just meeting. At the time, I believe it was Wednesdays. We would get there when Crossroad Games opened at 12 a.m., and we would stay almost every day until probably almost 9. So we were getting like 9 hours of gaming in, and it was usually all MCP. And the beautiful thing about it being on Wednesday was that was also 40K night. So a lot of other miniature enthusiasts and gamers were coming in, and they'd see us playing. So people would come over, kind of look at it and kind of talk with us about it. And the first 2 people that actually kind of got in on it was Stephen Maddox, so our co-host, and another fellow by the name of co-host.
Also, Nick, I want to just interrupt briefly and say you don't have to spend all day at a game store to develop.
No, you don't. I'm just giving you the background of how it started. But so everybody would come in. Maddox eventually started showing up. Well, he didn't start showing up to play. He would ask us about it. And he's like, well, when do you guys play? And I'm like, well, typically we've been showing up on Wednesdays, but we're probably going to start showing up on Thursdays because another friend's work schedule had changed. So he wasn't going to be able to play on Wednesdays anymore. And I think that's kind of when you started or showed up one random Thursday once we had switched because you weren't playing 40K. Because at the time you were still big into 40K. And I remember you showed up, and actually Cody showed up. I think that same day, if not the next week, and we ended up playing the Separation Anxiety. No, not Separation Anxiety. It was the Thanos. We set you up with Carl, and he ran you guys through Thanos.
I forgot about this.
And I remember sitting there watching the game because myself and the other friend, Jake, were playing a match. We had finished, and we came over and were kind of watching. And I just watched the game end, and I watched you and Cody just pack up and leave without like a word. And I'm like, Carl, did you scare these people off? Like, what did you do? But you guys ended up coming back the next Thursday, and you guys just kept coming and coming, and we eventually getting phone calls about, hey, do you guys, anybody around there play MCP? So we got some more people showing up. You started evangelizing basically to all your friends in the 40K groups. And it slowly started growing. I know another local guy, Q. I don't even remember how Q found out we were playing it, but he's a huge like comic guy and a Marvel guy. So he ended up coming in and playing, and it just blew up. And the next thing I know, we have probably a nice core group of 12 to 15 people that meet fairly regularly.
Yeah, I would agree.
And so it kind of started by accident, but as far as having a community start, I think it's all about consistency, right? You need to have a day, and you need to be there when other people are going to walk in and see what's going on. And you need to be outgoing a little bit. You need to be not kind of standoffish if people walk up to your table and ask what you're playing.
Or gatekeep too. I think it's a big thing.
And I will say, like, some of being regular too is like, if you want this to happen, you have to take it on yourself, right? Like Nick was our first guy that was like, I'm going to always be there, right? And so like, I'm there for a game if someone wants to play a game. If it's an odd number of people, I'll sit back and not play a game, let other people play, because you're kind of taking it on yourself to be like, I want this community to grow. And you kind of have to understand that, like, when you're coming to want to grow a community or run events, you don't play as much as you want, unfortunately, but in the long run you do, because you build that community so it's more healthy and it has more longevity to it, which I think is really important.
Yeah, and I do think, like, from someone, so there was a shifting point as well. So when other game systems, I don't want to say fall off, but when other game systems change in maybe a way that's not ideal for a lot of people, I do think they become a little bit curious. And I do want to like point out here that at the end of 9th edition, Stephen, you did a really excellent job of starting to introduce a lot of previous 40K players to this game. And a lot of them just kind of moved into MCP for the most part. There's at least 2 or 3 of us who just kind of stopped playing 40K. And I'm not saying you have to stop playing your old game, but
because like another guy I think is an important guy in our area is Dave, or Amish as he goes by. He was the guy that ran our 40K community up here for the longest time, and I kind of took a lot of my ideas from how he ran stuff about how I want to run MCP. But he's a good example of, he plays both, right? Like he would still run 40K stuff and be like, great, I can come over here and play MCP and I don't have to organize anything. And so you can get like a blending of those communities, and that just helps growing of both those communities too, which is really nice.
Absolutely. And there's something to be said too about, I guess, if you're planning on starting a community. So first step, know that consistency is very important, as Nick mentioned. Second step is kind of like, looking at role models, almost every game store has some kind of event, right? So find one that you like the format of or appreciate the person who's running it and how they're running it, and then maybe start modeling some of those things. Like have a game night, a consistent game night, and maybe there's some times at the beginning where you show up and it's just you. You know, that could happen. I'm sure, Nick, that may have happened to you. I don't know for sure, but um, you know, just modeling yourself after kind of existing, tournament formats is a great way to get people started. And then, as you go, I'm sure you Nick and Steven have learned a ton, like as they've gone and kind of tweaked some things. So,
yeah.
And something else with us that's really nice, and I'm sure Nick can atone to this because he's been going there longer than I have, but our store owner at Crossroad Games, Brendan, is great, right? And so he's super easy to talk to. He's approached us multiple times about how to make events easier. Nick's got a sweet lanyard from Atomic Mass Games from Brendan.
Oh, I guess that's even more important than anything we've been talking about. Find a store that you like.
Yeah.
First, yeah.
But you can start a community in like your house, I guess. But finding like a friendly local game store, I think, is a huge deal because like what Nick was talking about, he would just be there, right? He'd be there playing the game, and then people see it, and they're like, "Oh, this is really cool!" And they come over, and you get the people who are Marvel fans, you get the people who are like wargaming fans, and I wouldn't have joined if it wasn't like they were always there playing. Because to me, if it was like someone playing a game one-off, I'd be like, "Okay, that's cool looking game," but I'm not gonna pick it up. But I was like, "Wow, this guy's here every single week. That means I can like commit to buying into this game and not feel bad about it."
Like he'll be there to play with me too if you don't have anyone who's playing.
Yeah. I think, consistency is the biggest thing, right? Because if you show up once a month and people walk in, they're not going to necessarily see you there every time they come to the store. But if you're there once a week and it's on a night that they are usually there, they're going to notice you're there. Like, that's the easiest way to get people interested. And then the second most important thing is be welcoming. I know, especially like within kind of nerddom and the geek community, a lot of people are very, what's the word I'm trying to think of? They're very shy, I guess. They don't really want to expand their bubble. Yeah, they're introverted. And the two friends that I kind of got this going with, I would say, are kind of that way. They weren't really about wanting more people to play, but I'm like, I don't care. I'll play with other people. Like, so it kind of...
Yeah, I'm addicted to this game. Yeah. I need more games.
But you need, I think you have to have the right personality too. If you don't have the personality that's willing to be committed to something and consistent with something and welcoming to people and able to just communicate a little bit and explain what's going on, you're probably not going to go as far. So
you need to find a new friend that does it for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, Nick, we're trying to encourage people. So if you don't feel like you have the personality, find someone, one of your buddies.
I was getting to that, but thank you for like they said, and I was working up to that. If you're the type of person that's more introverted, but your friend is also into the game and they're more outgoing and they're willing to help you build the community, reach out to them and ask them to help you kind of be that person. Because I know, like we've mentioned on previous episodes, I'm not competitive by nature, and I would never have been like, hey, let's try and run a tournament or a competitive event for MCP. But one of my friends was like, I kind of think this game is good for competition. I'm like, I mean, if you want to do it, I'll do it. I have the time. I'll try and set up something with Crossroads and we'll see how it goes. And now that's why we have tournaments. Like, you just got to be willing to talk to your friend group and see what roles everybody can perform. If you don't fill that role, maybe somebody else in your friend group does. And if somebody in the friend group doesn't fill that role, maybe you'll drag somebody in eventually that does. It's a foundation. You got to grow. It's very important. But.
And I think something to spin off that's really nice for our community, because I feel like it's a little bit different than the other like New England communities I know, is that me and you usually the way Nick and I do it is usually kind of bounce back and forth of who runs a tournament or who sets up an event. So like Nick will do one, and then I'll do one, and then Nick will do one. And I think that's been incredibly nice, where it's like, hey, we can organize, run these events, but not feel like it's like, oh man, it's like another job that I'm doing, right? At least for me, it's kept me like, hey, I don't have to be as stressed about this, which is really nice. And then like when stuff comes up, it's not like, oh, we just can't do anything because like, I mean, July was a prime example for me. I didn't really do anything this month because I was so busy. And thankfully Steven stepped in as well, is that you have that community to fall back onto and there's other people to fall onto. It's not all on you, which I think is really nice for our community. I have to
Absolutely.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact that you stepped up and have been doing a lot of it because it is exhausting. It's hard enough being there every Thursday. And I know I haven't been there the last couple of Thursdays just because of some family stuff that's been going on, like weddings and stuff. So, but yeah. It's somebody needs to be there. And having another person that's outgoing and wants to grow the community and...
Yeah. Much like New Mutants, it's the buddy system.
Yeah, there you go.
That's great. And
be a new mutant.
And
be like magic.
The one other thing I want to say is if you are trying to start a community of any game system, don't expect it to happen necessarily overnight. It was probably at least, I'd say it was probably 3 months before Steven and Cody started coming. Yeah, you have some patience. Don't be like, I've been here every Thursday for a month and expect people are going to be showing up. I know personally when I'm looking to do stuff, I want to see consistency, and a month doesn't necessarily mean you're consistent, right? Like, be consistent, be patient. If you're not the outgoing type, maybe you have a friend that's also into the game that's outgoing and is willing to be that person. Like, you can work behind the scenes and do stuff to grow the community. And they can be kind of the face, to use a RPG term.
And so another good thing, I guess, just touching on MCP, Marvel Crisis Protocol building specifically. So at least with this game, and also to an extent Shatterpoint, they have a really good IP that a lot of people already love, which is a benefit for growing your community because you'll be like, oh, do you like comics? Here's Daredevil, So I do think that's a benefit of the game.
Yeah, and like one of the biggest things I'll agree with that is that doing like introduction games with people, Sentinels are great because everyone knows a Sentinel. Yep. They're cool, big, fun models.
And they're not good.
They're not good. And so you're not going to win that game. Like you can try as hard as you will, but they're going to beat you still. But it looks really cool and it makes that person feel good about the game. And so, yeah, it has that, you're right, like that recognizability to it, which is huge.
Yeah. So we should actually talk just briefly about teaching games in general. I think, at least from my experience with multiple game systems, the best way, especially if you're starting to get good, a little bit more competitive, the best way to approach a teaching game when you're trying to get someone interested in the community or they're new is to tone it down.
Yeah, and if you want, I actually have like a set crisis and stuff like that I usually do for teaching games.
Oh, go through that, yeah.
Yeah, so like usually I'll do cubes and extremists, right? Because they're both 17 threat, so you don't have to think about threat level. Usually I build the team for the other person. I don't bring tactics cards at first because that's just too hard, right? That's too much stuff to juggle. I don't know about you guys. When we first started playing this game, did you ever use all your tactics cards?
Yeah.
Nope.
Did I use them? No. Was I like, I'm just playing the full game? Yes. Because that's the type of person I am. So this is actually a great point for you guys to bring up. I'm not the greatest teacher. So having guys around that are good teachers is great. Like, that's why I set you and Cody up with Carl originally to run that scenario, because he's a little better at, or he's much better at explaining rules and telling people mechanics of a game, because that's kind of how his brain works. He's just very, this is the rule, this is how it works, I'm going to show it to you, and we're going to play it, which is why I was kind of scared he chased you guys away. But it turned out you guys were both like, no, it was great, we loved it, I just had to go. But yeah, especially having you now to teach people is awesome. There's a couple other guys that are very good at it in the community, and
not me, because I inadvertently spoke people.
To be fair, that was a league game.
Yes, yes. Yeah, exactly. So, but no, my roommate, him and I play occasionally, and I always take Sentinels, and I don't we even sometimes limit ourselves to 3 tactics cards if we really want to use them in teaching games. So
yeah, that's a good idea. So like maybe 0 at first, and then 3, and then work your way up, right? That's a good idea.
And like having people take affiliations too that are really popular. So like have a 5-man 17 threat X-Men list. People love X-Men. They're very popular. So something that's thematic, or X-Force, or with the movie, have Wolverine and Deadpool on an X-Force team. So
don't do E-maps. Don't do like cluster things, because that's just you roll dice and kill people. And this game's not always just about rolling dice. You want to be able, like, hey, there are points to this game. You got to pick up these cubes. You got to hold to this point. Oh, you take damage from the cubes, but look, you can heal yourself on this point, and you can see that synergy. It kind of goes really well, I think. And it's one of the biggest aspects of this game is the actual, like, you're not just killing people, right? It's not like old school Warhammer when we were kids where you just put everything down and you just kill each other. There is no objective at all.
And give them advice while you're playing. Be like, oh, hey, try this move out. Or if they do something really maybe not ideal, be like, why don't, very politely be like, maybe you want to move them not there.
So let them do takebacks. If they do something, they're like, oh, that was dumb. Like, yeah, no, that wasn't smart. Or that wasn't smart. You're like, yeah, you should take that back and let's do this instead. Don't be like, oh, has to follow this way. Like, reset the game back a little bit. Let them get measurements the way they want. Like, all that kind of stuff.
Play loose until like game 3 or 4. I think that's when you should start tightening things so they don't develop bad habits.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
one last thing, I got another thing about if you're looking at like running events, something I feel like we had luck with our events that actually got taken into other local events, which made me smile to see, and just really happy to see that they got shared around, is that Nick and I both wanted it to not just be, we have prize support for our event, right? So there's like a $20 buy-in. It goes to store credit. People get like a prize support kind of thing. But we didn't want that only to be for like the good players, because then people don't want to show up if it's this one guy always wins, like William York in our 40K community. Everyone was like, I don't want to play that guy. He's just always going to win every single time, right? You want to have things that other people can realistically obtain. So one thing that I came up with was playing bingo, where like as you're playing the game, if you do certain things in the game, like roll no hits on your dice. I used to have break a model on there and stuff like that. You would check off a bingo square, and then the first person to win bingo would win a prize. For the longest time, we worked with Baron of Dice, the dice making company. We would buy little tins of his dice, and there would be this prize support there.
Steven, why did you remove break a model? You want to just go over that briefly?
Because first of all, it just said break a model, and so they're like, oh, I can break my opponent's model. I'm like, no, you can't do that. And then one of our local guys bit off an arm of one of his models just to complete a bingo square, and it's like, all right, that wasn't the point. The point was to
Steven, who warned you that was going to happen?
And I didn't believe you. I was like, it's going to be fine. But I try to make those bingo squares for things that happen where you're like, oh, this sucks, but at least I get a bingo square, right? Like, hey, I rolled 4 skulls, but at least I get a bingo square. So it's supposed to be like accidentally break a model, because then you get a bingo square.
Too, for competitive players, like we all have bad tournaments, right? Even if you're playing competitively, you'll go to an event and you just like tank. It happens sometimes. You get hard matchups. And so maybe your last game, you're just like, I'm going to try to like do bingo instead of actually playing, the normal competitive game. So it's a nice outlet too for that. Marvel, so that you don't drop, and you continue to play.
Exactly. And Marvel's so popular that for a while, I haven't done it recently, I should get them again. I got Marvel stickers for like a kid's birthday party, and I would give out stickers that you could put stickers on your bingo sheet as you go. And so people just have fun with it. And then we're always really big on have a best sportsmanship award at the end. So everyone at the end writes down the player they had the most fun with or thought they were the best sport. And then that is usually as much prize support as like the first place winner, right?
Yep.
And then also like a best painted, because there are people in this hobby that just like to paint the models, and so like you want them in your event space as well, right? You want them actually participating in that actual event, right? So that best painted actually gets them across as well.
Yeah. And encourages you to bring, maybe bring one of your decently painted models to the event or in your list. So
because then also Joe Schmo who walks in the store and wants to buy something, you go over and like, oh, cool, these are all like painted models. I've tried my best to get like painted terrain up and good looking boards so that it looks good. So when people are coming by, they're like, oh, that's really cool. And you'll get those people roped in, and then you can take them over to next door and be like, hey, look, here's all the models. Here's the core box. This is how it runs, et cetera, et cetera. We're here on Thursdays, blah, blah, blah.
And I will say, too, this may be kind of, you guys are kind of the primary TOs anyways, so I have a little bit of an outsider opinion. I will say as things start to develop, too, so, maybe those first months to a year are difficult, and like it's maybe on your shoulders or one person's shoulders. Eventually, people love the people in miniature gaming love the games that they play. There's a reason why they're playing them. They're devoting a certain amount of time to the hobby or to the game itself. And eventually that does start to trickle out. And if you are like, if you listen to people and you engage with them and you're just honest and try to give them kind of a safer place, people want to help. Nice things, I don't know, what do you call that? Nice things will develop more and more nice things. And so, nowadays when we look at our community too, and I've only been part of it for like the past year, but, Kenny had some terrain that's commission painted and he leaves it at the shop. Dave went out and like bought a bag for like some mats, and I don't know if those mats are his or not, but now he's leaving stuff. He went out and bought boxes that are labeled for MCP. So when you walk into the store, you're like, oh, this is the MCP terrain. We got it. So, things just start to kind of trickle. I stepped in for you two, for example, too, when you both kind of couldn't do it. And so people just start helping out. The more you encourage that kind of positive reinforcing community and allow them to do that too, I think is an important point. Like, don't hoard the community. It's, even though I guess one way of also reframing some of this is it's not your community. You know what I mean? It's a community.
That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point.
But eventually it starts to take a life of its in shape of its own. And as long as you encourage positive sort of engagement while you're playing the game, positive events, not everyone's positive in all these communities.
Yep.
It happens. So just encouraging that, you'll bring out the best in people who want to contribute to that too, because they also love this game, But
it's funny you mention the positive attitude and the way you present tournaments and stuff. The biggest thing for me when I run a tournament is I'm always, I don't know if the word's paranoid, but I'm always nervous that we're going to have a player that just hates the entire thing. And I don't want that. Like, I never voice it at these things, but I'm always like, well, what if this doesn't go this way? Or I remember when...
Well, you're not always going to make everyone happy 100% of the time. And you have to accept that.
Yeah.
You just have to, that's something you just have to accept. Like, accept feedback, but also accept that, like, that's never going to happen in life. Never mind gaming.
But everything's gone great as far as I could tell. Like, I haven't had anybody say these are the worst MCP tournaments I've ever been to or anything like that. But like, when
people come back, which is good.
When you first reached out and kind of got in contact with Brian, I was like, wait, this is like one of the big guys. He's going to come up here and play. I was kind of sweating a little bit, like,
that's another thing too to mention. If you find out who has like kind of more of a regional presence, maybe reach out to them.
A prime example in the Northeast, we have a New England Discord group for just tournament organizers, right? So we all can talk to each other. We have the Becky events up here, which is great for community growth. So like, reach out to those other people that do it, because they'll know how to deal with stuff. And then if you're like, hey, they're only an hour and a half away, like we're going to go down to Midgard next month because it's only an hour and 45 minutes away, you can kind of share a community a little bit where it's like, they're not there every week, but those tournaments will be like, oh, this is a 30-person tournament. This is great. And that, I think, makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And the MCP community, itself is relatively small. So like chances are, if in your one region, there's probably a smaller group out there, maybe a little bit of travel away, but enough where you can join them every few months for a tournament or something,
And then something to kind of go back to about staying in a positive space, but you will have some negative bad apples, right? And so this is something I pull from like the 40K community, because there's a lot of bad apples in that 40K community, just because it comes out. It's human nature. You'll see it. But I think as a TO, it's important to say, if you're having like someone like cheating at a tournament or someone doing something weird at a tournament, kind of like the Tacoma Open recently for 40K, you need to put your foot down, right? You need to not be completely conflict adverse and be like, oh, I can't deal with conflict. And yeah, you can just do whatever you want. Like, you need to put your foot down and be like, hey, no, you can't do that. Or hey, that's
and
not
just
acceptable
interrupt.
here,
If you're not comfortable with being the person to say you're cheating, you have to leave, talk to like the store owner prior, because they deal with customers. So if you need somebody to kind of be that bad guy, so to speak, just have a stand-in. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to have everything on your shoulders. And in fact, if you do, you might fail. Like, it's a lot, really.
Yeah.
Ask for help.
And don't catastrophize. Like, it might just be the guy's having a bad day, or the guy maybe the guy doesn't know the rule correct, or maybe like someone thought dice moved in a weird way or something like that, and be like, all right, hey, let's just talk it out and be adults here, and it can be fine. Like, don't be like, oh man, I gotta ban this person forever. Like, don't do that.
For patterns of behavior is what you're saying. Patterns, not instances.
And I'd also like to say, like, we personally haven't really had an issue with that in any of our local scene, and I don't know if it's really I haven't heard about it in the MCP community. We all seem to be pretty level-headed.
Really what, Nick?
But I'm sure it's out there.
Oh man, I'm dying of suspense.
I don't know anything. But
what were you gonna say?
What were you gonna say? You cut out after saying really.
Yeah.
I don't know what I said anymore. I was saying something, and now it's gone.
We were on the edge of our seats, Nick.
But that might sound awkward when you guys are listening.
Yeah,
to this
definitely. You don't even have to say that. Yeah. I'm not cutting this. So, I guess like to also just sort of go through we wrote down some talking points. Some of them are really funny, so I'm just going to read them out loud. Find your friends and get them to quit their other games.
This is under how to start a community.
Don't actually do that. Don't actually do that. Encourage them to add on. But
yeah, that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah. So what are some, just kind of remaining thoughts on building a community? And if you, I guess at the end of this episode too, give like a
cheat sheet.
Yeah, like a real brief summary of.
I got a brief one. It's be regular, show up there weekly, be personable, try to run events with like a fun focus aspect to them, not a super competitive, or we like to joke, sweaty
and for example, MCP has a lot of events, especially that were really popular when we first started. Like the Thanos event was really popular. Separation Anxiety has been one of our favorites. I know there's a couple others. So there's stuff there that doesn't have to be super competitive.
Mojo
Ball
right now just
I just
came out
kind of
too.
went through the rules for that, and that looks fun. But you don't have to treat the game just as an always hit each other in the face. There's good little events that you can do, especially early on when you're building the community.
Yeah. Well, I think important thing that you're touching on, Nick, is player intention. Not every player enjoys competitive play. Some players paint, and that's what they do. Some players like just throwing down models and having a good time, so people come to this game with different intentions of the fun that they get out of it. So just acknowledging and being aware of that, I think, is really important.
So I guess final thing to kind of say is if you are out there and you're trying to build a community, please reach out to any of us. I know me and Maddox especially have a lot of insight into building communities, and both of us are more than willing to talk to you. Maddox might be a little easier to track down because he's in a lot more of the Discord groups than I am. But
hey, you
could email us. I kind of maintain the Instagram, so if you're trying to get direct into me, Instagram's a good way. You can direct message me on Discord. I don't actually know my name off the top of my head, but maybe that's something we should put in the show notes at some point if we have show notes. But yeah, definitely reach out to either of us. We're both more than willing to chat with people.
And honestly, this goes for anyone in the community that that runs events or hosts a podcast or anything like that. I have not come across a single person in this community that has been like offsetting or off like, hey, I don't want to talk to you. Like people will talk to you even if you just have a shared common interest, right? So don't ever be afraid to reach out.
And also, don't be afraid to like re-message us if we don't respond, and because sometimes it gets lost, like we're busy with life and stuff. So if I know me personally, if you message me and I don't get back to you, don't be offended, just message me again and I'll eventually see it.
So we're under the impression
it's true.
Nick
I can't read.
So
Don't know how to scroll. I never scroll up to see what a conversation was. But
I thank you both too for giving your insight into this. Obviously I don't have like that much experience. I just never happened for me. So, but I'm trying to help out when I can. So
absolutely,
we're doing a podcast, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
right.
There we go. So I guess like I know last episode, Nick, we talked about final thoughts, and then that led to our final thoughts. So any final thoughts?
I mean, I'm looking through the notes. I feel like we really hit everything pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's stuff that people do better than we do as far as building a community. We're constantly learning and trying to improve. And like I said, just be patient if you are trying to grow the community. And if you're not an outgoing person, find somebody who is and see if they're willing to help you. You don't have to do it by yourself. That was my biggest worry for a while was, do I have to do all this by myself? But then Maddox is really stepped up and he does a lot of stuff I don't want to do. So it's great.
Yeah. Hey, you wrote that event description.
Yeah, I've been using that forever.
So it goes both ways.
So I guess final thoughts for the episode. I'll just kind of wrap this up. Follow us on Instagram at AliveOn1. You can type that into the search function on Instagram and find us pretty immediately. We are now live on Apple, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms, including the aggregators. We have this team tournament coming up. We highly encourage you to attend. And again, really just contact one of us if you have any questions surrounding that or anything else we talk about or any episode suggestions. So we really appreciate the fact that this podcast is listened to, which was maybe a surprise, but it's been, I was surprised. So it's been really cool. So keep it coming. We'll keep it coming. And I think our next episode will probably be me talking about really weird dark dimension shit. So
looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, you got to play a game against me first, but a tangent aside, thank you all for listening. I hope you have a great evening and Godspeed, Spider-Man. Thank you.